So apparently, Joe doesn't just go at Zach Taylor, which, according to Dan Pitcher, happens more often than you think. Apparently, the cameras don't always catch it, and I might go back throughout the games and kind of look at things, but I'm assuming he's meaning outside of just, the atmosphere of what we see on game time. This is probably behind the scenes as well he's speaking of. But this apparently is not a first-time thing that Joe Burrow has got into it with Zach Taylor. Which, first off, I do not blame Burrow at all. I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine keeping your cool, especially behind the scenes, when you're watching this front office absolutely ruin it for you. And with how much of a competitor Joe is, I can't imagine the anger that he feels when he realizes, I'm doing everything I can, and it's just simply, everyone else is, pretty much going against him. He's trying everything to win, and the front office is doing everything possible to lose. Which, again, I can't imagine his anger. So, not surprised to hear that this has happened more times than what we see personally as the fans and as the public. And Dan even said, in this thing right here, he got into it with Burrow himself. So apparently Joe isn't just saving this wrath for Zach Taylor. He's getting into it with also Dan Pitcher. And I'm going to guess Lou Anarumo if I had to continue this guess here. Because again, this is something that Zach and Dan has said, that this offseason, Joe Burrow has been more vocal. He's been more out there. He's been voicing his opinion. He's been saying how he feels, which when you're making $270 million, that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing, right? You're supposed to be going out there and voicing opinions, saying how you feel, and not accepting this bullcrap. And it seems like Joe Burrow is now, at this point, he's fed up. He's fed up with this mediocrity that is being accepted by this front office and this organization. And I would not be surprised if these arguments and these very, very public situations happen more. Because it's bullcrap. And I think all the fans feel it, obviously. Joe feels it. And we're pissing away Super Bowl chances by acting like this. I said this a million times, I'll say it again. They knew Cordell Volson was not the guy going into this season, during this season. They knew he wasn't the guy. 1,000% they knew he wasn't the guy. You know how I know that? Because they replaced him with Cody Ford. And he's also been stinking it up all season long. But I thought to myself, well, maybe they're going to keep him. Maybe they're just going to keep him, and that's the whole perspective they're going with. Nope, they replaced him with Cody Ford. And Cody Ford is also not good. So you would think, if they knew they were going to replace Cordell Volson, you would think, logically, if you had a brain, which everyone does except for this front office apparently, you would go out there and try to get somebody. Try to get a replacement at left guard. Try to. Just try to. Orlando Brown has had injuries throughout this season. Before the trade deadline, you would think you would go out there and spend money. Not spend money, but spend maybe a draft pick, which I know Duke Tobin hates more than life itself to ever give up your little precious draft picks. But you would think to protect your $270 million investment that you have in that backfield in Joe Burrow, you would think that they would spend even a fifth and try to get even a backup. I don't care who you get at this point. Cordell Volson plus Cody Ford. Anyone you get is better than that. And you would think they would go out of the way to do that just to protect Joe. Protect Joe Burrow so he doesn't get hit 1,000 times like he did in the Titans game. Like he did in the Steelers game. Like he did every single game this season. Taking hits after the whistle. Because, again, it's acceptable. The refs accept it. The Bengals accept it. I'm not surprised he's has these outlashes toward Zach Taylor, Dan Pitcher, and the organization. Because it's bullcrap. It's absolutely bullcrap. And there's no excuse for it. Well, we couldn't find... Yes, you could. You could go find someone, I guarantee you. The level for Cody Ford and how good Cody Ford is at left guard is a solid 4 out of 10. Cordell Volson is a 3 out of 10. And I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I did because I thought, in my delusional thinking, I thought to myself, I said, you know what? They're going to ride with Cody Ford. Ride with Cordell Volson. They're going to just ride with him. Going into our trade deadline, we didn't trade for a single left guard. It has come out already. They did not even try to. They tried to trade for a defensive end, and they couldn't get it done. And they gave a 7th-round pick for Khalil Herbert that they have yet to utilize much at all. And he's fumbled when he did get utilized. They didn't trade for a single lineman. There was no report that they even tried to trade for a lineman. And I said to myself, I'm delusional here. I said, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. They're going to roll with Cordell Volson. Even though he sucks this year, maybe they're still in that kind of, hey, listen, we could still make something out of him. And the week after the bye week, and after the trade deadline, they bench Cordell Volson. And that is the crap that pisses me off so bad. Because that is it's not like you go one game and know you're going to bench this guy. No, you have this idea, you have this conversation inside the front office, in the coaching staff for a couple of weeks. Dan Pitcher, all these guys. Hey, Cordell Volson is kind of a problem. He's having a bad season. What should we do? Well, let's give him another couple of weeks. See how he does. Okay, he's not getting better. Bench him. And not one single report. You tried to trade for a backup left tackle to protect Joe Burrow. You tried to trade for a backup left guard to try to protect Joe Burrow. If I was Joe, I would take that as a shot. I would take that as they don't give a fluff about me. And again, this is what I said. You got to clean house. You just got to clean house. I will still say I think Zach should be promoted to a advisor role, like Pete Carroll was, just because of he is a great guy, and I think he should be a advisor role. Advisor role means you have no control, buddy. You have no control. But you're like a figurehead, pretty much. That's all you should do. Advisor role, get an actual head coach in here, get an actual GM. Mike Brown, you need to lose all control of everything, my man. I love you, but you need to lose all control. You need an actual GM to come in here and tell you, I am the boss now, and I'm taking control. That's what you need. You don't need Mike Brown's input on anything right now. We don't need anything right now. I give Lou another year. And the only reason, because I think if we get a competent GM in here, and he can draft, and this upcoming draft is actually pretty decent for defense. If we can get a competent GM and he can get a good draft going for this defense, I think we could figure something out. But you have to clean house. You have to get rid of them. And I know that is a very difficult thing for this front office to do. They took forever to get rid of Marvin Lewis. But you have to. Because if you sit here and you continue to accept these situations with Joe Burrow and Dan Pitcher, or Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor, are going to continue more and more and more. It's just going to keep going because he's not accepting it. And nor should he. He shouldn't accept this bull crap. Because at the end of the day, this is more than just us losing. These are hits on him. These are shots on him. These are things that are going to make him one day probably not be able to walk correctly. Probably have issues down the line later in his life. These are actually grown men who are hitting him and potentially hurting him when he already has a wrist injury. Now he has a knee thing. All these things are happening, and Joe is taking it because the front office doesn't want to do the damn job. Because they don't want to protect number 9. Because they don't want to. Because Duke Tobin doesn't want to give up draft picks. Because Mike Brown doesn't want to spend money. Because they don't want to do it. Like, this is beyond unacceptable. This is beyond a problem. And I'm happy Joe is voicing his frustration. Because he should. He definitely should. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.